Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which I think you'll find a bit interesting. Ethereum going to $5,000, is it even possible? So here's what happened. I stumbled across this article and I already had a few things that I wanted to share with you, and I thought, okay, let's make this um, the topic of a video. Basically, what is the natural valuation of the Ethereum network, number one, and number two, the Ether coin, if I could call it a coin. So this article is very interesting. Let's go through this very quickly, and I'll share the link. I want to give this guy credit, Nick Cannon. I don't know the guy. I stumbled across this 2 days ago and just read it, and that was the price 2 days ago. We'll talk about a bit of a drop that's happened, and I'll give you some thoughts about that towards the end of the video. Not financial advice. The article isn't, and neither is this video, right? Now, he starts off by talking about DeFi, and I've said previously, DeFi is great. It's the driver in 2019 and now in 2020, but really the network value, the Ethereum network, not the Ether coin, is going to be more than that. This is just the first rocket. We've got multi-stage rockets here. And he explains it very nicely. He says, look, you can earn interest depositing money, converting dollars into Ether and then potentially to tokens, and lock that in DeFi, and that's a use case. There's people out there, Luddites, that still say, um, the crypto really doesn't have a use case. Bitcoin doesn't have a use case. Bitcoin is gold 2.0. Ethereum is the digital financial system of the future, and more. Right? Take a step back from that. It's the world's computer. Now, he goes more into detail and he says, at this point, Ethereum does not support credit. You have to basically lock some collateral in. And right now, it's about 150%. So if you want to borrow $100 US dollars, probably in a stable coin or a token, you have to lock about $150 of Ether. And Ether is still king on the Ethereum network. There was talk the other day of Bitcoin being locked into the Ethereum network, and that will happen. That's the value of the smart contract network, and the Ethereum network specifically being the first mover, having the most amount of developers. I'm going to talk about this. Got my tabs lined up for you here. And he goes on and he says today's Ethereum market cap is about 30 billion. Well, he's going to scale this up. Starts at $1 million, and if we scale that up to 30 billion, that would be the 150% collateral. This would allow the borrowing of 20 billion US dollars if every single Ether was used to collateralize loans. But every single Ether is not going to be used to collateralize loans, because DeFi, as I'm saying, is not the only use case. This is a smart contract platform. He says it there as well. Right now, the actual number sits at around 2 million. If we consider other financial applications, not just loans, that increases the savings rate. He goes into that there. And I'm going to just fast forward. You can read the article. But what he actually says is that if we're going to have 12 million Ether collateralized, and we create a $1 trillion financial market, the price of the Ether then would have to be $80,000. Okay, and that's almost unbelievable today, but is it as unbelievable as $10,000 Bitcoin was in 2010? We're a few years behind on the Ether line than the Bitcoin line. I always say to people, if you feel you missed out on Bitcoin in the early 2010s, there's one or two other platforms that are earlier in the game, and that's Ethereum is one of them, right? Now, there's two angles to this. I don't want my videos to come across purely as investment focus. If you're just an investor and you just want to make money, then this is interesting to you. But I mean, I'm a technology guy. I love the tech, and the real value of Ethereum for me, even greater than this, but which solidifies these arguments is the world computer argument. We'll get to that in a minute. So when you look at it like that, looking at just this year, a rise to 5K, there's many arguments for it. We're not saying it's going to happen. It will be good for the smart contract platform. So that's the first piece. And read the article, and I think you'll understand it a lot better. And it's very interesting. But for me, the main uh, reason I called Ethereum in 2019 in a tweet, which some people latched onto it, I said it's the most exciting and most important technological project of the early decade. And some people said to me, well, you've got AI, you've got quantum computing coming, right? Yes, this world decentralized computer sounds great, but doesn't even scale, doesn't even work. So as you know, we'll see 2.0 in 2020, and we hope to see scaling. It looks like we could get 3,000 transactions per second. I actually had an exchange with some of the devs on Twitter asking how that works and execution of code. I'll cover that in an upcoming video. Okay. But the network effect is something amazing. Ethereum has the most amount of developers out of all the smart contracts platforms. Now, obviously, Azure is something I'm very close to and familiar with. And there's Ethereum on Azure. Why would you want Ethereum on Azure? Well, firstly, this is something Microsoft has invested in. Just one company. I'm using Microsoft as an example. And I'm playing with this already. Um, you could create what's known as a consortium chain using the Ethereum technology. You're going to write your consortium chain smart contracts in Solidity, right? There's another language called Viper, which is supported on the Ethereum blockchain, but it's the same technology. It's Ethereum. You could use Ethereum on Azure as a test net before you deploy to the Ethereum mainnet. So you use the cloud platform as a dev test QA environment. Remember, writing smart contracts is a little bit different. I, I remember hearing a podcast more than a year, probably 2 years ago, where a Solidity dev said that it's almost like writing firmware. And that's the point. That's the point of the network. I'll get to that in a minute. And once again, if I go deeper into Azure and the Azure blockchain, um, you can just spin up that Ethereum node. You can go into Azure blockchain service, and there you're going to write Solidity. So this says to me, when a heavyweight like Microsoft, and it runs really great on Azure, has made this investment, um, that people are taking this technology seriously, right? And it's already got the biggest developer ecosystem, and that's great. Here's a smart contract. So I've been writing smart contracts. I've been getting into the tech. It's not just about the investment opportunity for me, and the pluggability is already blowing you away, right? So you could compile. So this is something called Remix. It's open source. It's a platform where you can write a smart contract, deploy straight to Ethereum mainnet. They're making it accessible. You want to learn Solidity. It's very similar to JavaScript, some of the C type of languages, and you can come here and this is running in a test environment, JavaScript VM, injected Web.3. If you have MetaMask, some of you familiar with MetaMask, creates a wallet in your browser and generates an address for you. I can use MetaMask, link it to my Azure blockchain service, write a smart contract here in Remix, and then deploy it straight there into Azure, my testnet. If it works, or if I'm not doing a consortium chain, come back here. It's great. And then set a gas value, deploy to the mainnet. This ecosystem's taking off. This means we're going to see more than just DeFi. I've been talking about decentralized supply chain, decentralized law, decentralized education, right? Taking a step back even from that, what is the value? What is the use case of this entire thing? Smart contract platform, blockchain. And it's this. I want to show this code to you, even if you're not a coder. The ability for me to write a piece of code and deploy it, knowing that it will run perpetually. It cannot be shut down. It can run all around the world and eventually even in space. The Bitcoin network already has nodes running in space on some satellite. I read about that a while back. That is value proposition number one. Before we get to this, and before we get to DeFi, people don't realize this. This is a value proposition that nobody has offered society. And we're not talking about how complex this code can be and what the code can do. Just value proposition number one. I can write a piece of code that performs a function and deploy it to this network. And yes, there's a cost, and that's where gas and ether comes in. But all that's taken care of. They've thought about all of this. And that code will just run and run, as I said earlier, like firmware. That is amazing. And I know we heard about this first years ago, 5 years ago. Some people still don't get it. That's value proposition number one. The developer ecosystem's value proposition number two, growing and growing. DeFi, then on top of those two things, is value proposition number three. Okay? And with all those things, if you're not the tech guy like me, if the last 2 or 3 minutes bored you, then if you're the investor guy, well, yeah, this is undervalued. This is not financial advice, but this is undervalued. So let me just jump into a little bit more on the pricing type of thing, right? So this value prop, I looked up Ethereum because I thought, okay, that's where he got it from. Extremely delicate and light in a way that seems to be not of this world. Or it could be heavenly or spiritual. I don't know if Vitalik was smoking something when he thought of the name, but yeah, it works. It works for me, right? Okay, let's have a look. So, firstly, I picked this up. I thought it was quite funny, right? If you go into many of these sites and you type in ETH, you're not going to get Ethereum, right? Because it's going to pull up a stock. There's actually a stock called ETH, Ethan Allen Interiors. Now, this guy must be thinking, wow, in the last few years, I'm getting so much interest in my stock. Yeah, it hasn't really helped his stock price. Let's see what he's done in 5 years. No, it hasn't helped his stock price. It's I think a lot of people looked up his stock and was hoping to find Ethereum. Hey, maybe we give the guy a break. Maybe I don't know what this company does, but home furnishings. I wish him the best of luck. But if you search for ETH on a site like this that does stocks, you're going to get this guy. But anyway, we're not interested in this guy. So right now, it depends on when you're watching this video. I've noticed that crypto investors, not the technologists, purely the investors, are very fickle. The technologists see this. Technologists see this and they don't care. They don't watch prices daily. And that's great. That's where you want to be. You want to do that and you want to have an end game. Watch my video, Planning Your Crypto End Game, which I came out with, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. But your sentiment in terms of this video will change almost week on week, depending on what cycle you're in. Now, right now, at the time of recording, we've had a nice run over the last few weeks and a sudden drop in the last 2 days. And this is, people are saying it's due to the coronavirus. It's not just crypto. Stocks, everything's down. The whole stock market is down. In many cases, some stocks have dropped a lot more sharper than this. But I first want to talk about sentiment before anything else, right? So in this phase here, okay, you had there couple of days, more than a week, slight retracement, then an even stronger angle, then an even stronger angle. All right, that's a pattern you should look for, by the way, because then you almost know that that's coming. But at every stage here, people are like, "Oh, why didn't I listen to you? Why didn't I made a video early in Jan, and I'm going to track the progress of that video monthly." And the price on the 4th of Jan, when I made that video, was $133. Right? It's not even on the y-axis here. Okay, and then so people tell you constantly, "Why didn't I buy? Why didn't I buy?" And then this happens. And when this happens, this is okay. It happened maybe due to coronavirus. The entire stock market is down. this is where you buy. It might go lower than that. We don't know. We don't know. But for some of you, it's going to go down there. You need to see that opportunity. I mean, if I do, let's just do the 3 month and see. So it's gonna load. You can see it's not even. I mean, there was even a longer protracted upswing. So if you look at this video, is Ethereum going to $5,000? When you look at it and you're in that phase, people get excited, but people also say, "Man, wished I bought earlier." If you're watching the video, this video, and we're in the down phase, I've noticed this behavior. A lot of people will say, "Yeah, how's that working out for you?" But they don't buy. They don't take advantage of the dip. So keep that in mind. And the only way to really not be affected by this is to have an end game. It's to know why you're into a particular technology. In this case, uh, ethereal code. I'll call it ethereal code or ethereal. How do you say that? Let me know in the comments. Um, I can write a piece of code, deploy it, and nobody can shut it down. As a programmer, I've been a software developer for now almost 20 years. Okay, I started my career in 2000, writing .NET, C Sharp, which is very similar syntax to Solidity, by the way, and that is just an amazing value prop. Just that alone, and that for me is the reason why I'm not phased by these ups and downs. I think there's value in the platform, and then you get the developer ecosystem, everything else, and this, and it just makes sense. So I hope that video was interesting. Watch my endgame video, and there's a lot of very good info that I share, including some calculations, and I put everything in a spreadsheet, and I'm sharing that for free. And if you want it, if it's going to add value to you, it's not financial advice. I just want to make that very clear, especially if you're an American. But you'll find that very interesting. So hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment. If you hit like, please, if you did like the video, it'll motivate me to keep making more of these. And I'll see you the next time. Until next time.